So, welcome to Gap Year with by me, Mihitha, and
Me, Jesse Van Brunschot.
wow, who are those guys?
What's up?
Yeah, one of them is me. I am a second year open studies student at the University of Calgary. In high school, I tried to participate in many sports teams as possible, all the while trying to balance school. I didn't really balance much. I did more of the sports side than I did really the school side, and it didn't lead to any exceptional grades or anything like that. But I managed to pass. Um, I was a very social person. I tried to be as part of as many group activities as possible, like being in fundraisers, pep rallies, creating dances. We created the first dance within 11 years at Sir Winston Churchill. That was pretty fun. I mean, pretty cool experience as well.
I am Jesse. I'm a second year business student at SAIT. Right now, I'm majoring in supply chain management, and I'm halfway through the 4-year degree. Same like Mihitha, when I was in high school, I played for a number of different sports. Primarily basketball was my favorite. One can say that I tried harder in sports than I did in my academics, which is probably true. If you ask my teachers, they'll tell you that I like talking more than I did listening, which was great for my friends, not so much for the teachers. While I was in high school through grade 11 and 12, I worked a part-time job, and it was great for work experience, but also for the money. To boil it down, I was just not the best student in high school.
Um, right out of high school, I jumped right into the workforce working at Canadian Tire as a sales representative. I worked full time just to like save up for tuition and kind of just build my own money. It felt good to be that kind of independent. But before that, we actually went on a trip with me and Jesse and three of our other friends, two of which that are actually in this Bridge the Gap program as well. And we went to India for a month, and it was great. I know I had a great experience. Saw a lot of things that didn't really know existed as well, and saw the Taj Mahal too. That was pretty sick. And
So yeah, as Mihitha was saying, we went to India, which was a great experience for all of us. And then once we got back in July, I just worked with my dad. And then in September, I actually left the country again with my mom for 4 months. We went to Europe for a while. I stayed in the UK for about 3 weeks. I was in Germany for Oktoberfest. And then I was in the Netherlands for 3 months. When I got back, I jumped or tried to jump right into the workforce like Mihitha. It just took me a while to get into it, unfortunately. But once I got going at the start of April, I went full time till September and continued on as a part time employee going into the school year. And I'm still doing that right now.
still employed. Um, Processions right out of high school.
As Mihitha was saying, we had a fellow friend of ours, Sergil, who's the co-founder of this program. He, as Mihitha and I know, has had his life kind of figured out, or he's felt that he's had his life figured out since about grade 6. So having that kind of pressure from our friends, Mihitha and I both felt that, and we also felt that there was pressure from our family and our other friends and the ones around us to go right into school. And as you can see, Mihitha and I are both two cool cats. It worked out for us to not go into school right away. One thing we wanted to stress is that school is not the only path. There's plenty of other options there. If you're not interested in going to school, you can take gap years, some time off, or you don't have to go to school at all. One thing we also felt that we should mention is that I think there's a misconception that when you're coming out of high school, you should have your goals figured out right away. And we think that's completely untrue. It's very hard to have your whole life figured out right once you're done school. And I think quite frankly, most people that do end up changing it. So what we want to say is that it's all right if you don't have your goals figured out yet, especially in this time. If you do take a break, it's a great time to try to figure those out, or just get one step closer to getting near that goal. One thing we also wanted to say is that if you do not go to university or post-secondary, you won't be behind. One thing that was going through my mind, and I'm sure it was going through Mihitha's, is that we felt like if we don't go right now after we graduate, we will be behind. But Mihitha and I both have people in our programs that are in their 40s, 30s, stuff like that. It just goes to show that you can start this process whenever you feel ready and whenever the time comes. So don't worry about what your friends or other people are doing around you, because it just matters when you're ready.
Yeah, and one thing to add to the goal setting one, like I still have friends that are into their third year now that are rethinking that if they want to do their degree or finish it, which is crazy because your third year you're pretty much almost there, and for you to be deciding then to not be able to do it is kind of worse. So it's better to get that figured out now than later, right? Motivations against post-secondary. So for me, I didn't feel like I really had a break right after. You do that summer break, and then after that, you're kind of right back into it with like the same amount of grind, if not more. Like you got to do a lot more. You got to the demand is higher. The amount of work is a lot higher, and it's just overall, it's just a lot more taxing, right? So I didn't feel like I was prepared to go to post secondary. That's why I needed that break, almost to kind of just reset, get my mind right, because I felt like if I just went in there, I'd just be spending money on a bunch of classes and then wasting it, right? Because these classes aren't cheap. They're like $1,000 almost for per like a semester, and it's not like light money just to be throwing it around. So money, money, money. So really want to just save money and just kind of figure out if I'm gonna put my money into something, I want it to be something that it's gonna be good and I'm gonna move forward into it, right?
Just like what Mihitha was saying, like having the actual break. I know Mihitha didn't really get one in the sense, but it is nice to be able to say, I don't have to go back to school right now. This is the opportunity for you. If you're interested in taking a break, if you're thinking about it, I definitely would suggest it if you've thought about it, because it is a nice time just to kind of recuperate after the 12 years of going to school, and now it's your time to do with what you please, which is always nice. Definitely
Yeah.
some more freedom.
100%.
One thing I wanted to touch on, especially since I go to SAIT, which is a polytechnic school, university or post-secondary isn't the only option. Um, a polytechnic school is unique because there's an emphasis on the trade sector. So trades are a great idea for you if you like working with your hands, or if you don't really like the idea of a 9 to 5 desk job. These are a really great option for you to kind of further your education, but also make some money. The great part about these programs is that they don't require a lot of school time, but you do make quite a bit of money once you're done. We also want to say that if you can find something that you're passionate about and that you like doing, and it doesn't require school, then if you don't feel like you want to, then there's no point. School does cost quite a bit of money over the 4 years or 2 years that you take it. And if you find something you like doing, find something you love doing, and it doesn't require you to go to school, then we say there's no point.
Yeah. SATA is great because it allows it gives you hands-on experience as well, which like a lot of University of Calgary doesn't give you. It's a lot more of the theory aspect. So when you get your degree at SAIT, companies will look for you more because you have that hands-on experience. You kind of have that one leg ahead of everyone else. So you make money faster, and it prevents you from going into debt faster. Pretty much, that's cool. Uh, Goal setting. So within this year, it's not just going to be all relaxed. You kind of have to think about what you're going to do, how you're going to go about it, what kind of places. And like the first thing you really need is a resume. And like building that resume is your first introduction to any employer, anyone. That's your introduction to them, just so that you can get that interview as well, which is the second layer that you have to get by just to get the job, right? But the resume is that first introduction, and it's what really catches their eye. So you really have to nail that on the head. And building your resume just by doing volunteering, and just being overall great Samaritan in your community helps a lot. Pursuing things you like, you have this whole year to kind of just relax, yeah, but also kind of just like do whatever, maybe stuff you've been sleeping on, you can now pursue now because you have all this time. You don't really know what to do with it, right? So definitely reach out, go around, try anything you can. But take your time. You have a long while, so no need to rush, and definitely don't rush into things that you're not sure of. Focus on yourself for sure. So a full year just kind of being introspective and kind of facing those questions you never wanted to face before, almost.
Yeah. And yeah, a resume is a very important thing for working just in life in general. A resume is crucial. And one thing you got to just kind of try it out. If you feel that your resume isn't full of anything, you can fill it up with work experience. But if you're struggling to find a job, volunteering is a great option. It shows employers that you're willing to do work without getting paid. But a great part of that is that you're doing work to help other people, which is a quality everyone should love. So definitely take the time to try to build those skills of the resume, fill it up as much as you can, and then yeah, pursue things that you like because this is your year, it's
Yeah.
your life. You're the main character.
Exactly.
So,
You're your protagonist right now.
exactly. So
Yeah.
just focus on the things that you like and try to go.
So, and what we kind of took away from this year off. For me, being a social person myself, I was able to talk to a various amount of people working at Canadian Tire. A lot of people go through that store. And in doing so, it allowed me to develop a bunch of skills in networking and, just kind of meeting and talking, building those connections between people, maybe even people like you just met, right? And I was able to see the whole business aspect of these big corporations, the supply chain of demand, kind of why they buy things, like what they look out for when they're looking to buy things, all that kind of stuff. So it's cool when you walk into the store, you kind of know how it all works out. I discovered new interests and passions and revisited old ones. Learned to be a bit more independent, building that money and capital for yourself. It allowed me to, kind of kind of spoil, but also just like be able to support myself without asking my parents for money, which always feels great. And it also helps when you're able to get things for them as well. Um, Learn that life can be boring sometimes, and that's okay. Part of being an adult is that like you have to be able to go through all the lows, but come out on top. It's not going to be all highs.
For me, especially coming off India, we definitely all gained a better appreciation of the world we live in, especially for what we have and how fortunate we are here. And then going to Europe, it was very interesting to see how different parts of the world work. All around, it just gave me a better appreciation for the world that we live in. One thing that happened to me when I was trying to look for a job is that I applied to about 20 or 30 different places in a pretty bad time to be applying for a job. So it was hard to not be discouraged, but I had to learn that skill of just keep being persistent and trying my best not to get down on myself or get down when things weren't going my way. Because like Mihitha said, life's all about ups and downs, and you just got to come out on top each time, or try your best to at least.
Yeah.
So it was a very valuable lesson to learn and get that defeat, but also rise up. One thing I want to mention is that getting a job does take time. For me, especially, I can attest to the fact that it was not a fast process. sometimes these things can be within the snap of a finger, and then other times it can take a very long time. So just going back to being persistent and not being discouraged that these things do happen in life, and you just have to keep trying your best.
Yeah.
One thing I found out about myself is that when I was in the Netherlands, I was in the Alsmeer flower auction, which is one of the biggest auctions in the world. And I learned all about supply chains and logistics of getting these flowers to and from the countries that produce them to the people that are buying them. And now that's why I like supply chain so much, because I think I learned something quite cool and something that interests me. And another thing I wanted to mention is that a great part about working these jobs that Mihitha and I both have, whether or not we actually do like them, and I think Mihitha and I can both agree we don't really like our jobs, but
Yeah.
the great part about having those jobs that we didn't like working is that just shows us something that we might not want to do in our future. So that's a positive spin, and I know it's hard to focus on, but at least we know that maybe this retail or something like that isn't for us. So it's
Yeah.
great to learn that, and that's all about learning experience.
And either way, even if you don't like it, you keep at it, you keep working there. It's
Exactly.
another addition to your resume, you know. And then
Money in your
that
pocket.
way, when next employer you go, they're gonna see, oh, you have 2 years at this one company. It shows you that you're loyal. You know, it shows that you're working hard, that you're willing to stay at a company for a while. You know, so it's all good things at the end. They just add up. Uh, and you know, I guess we don't have any questions right now because it's a video. But thanks for watching. And see you guys at the Q&A.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.